For thousands of years, one ancient oil has been used by healers across Egypt, India, and China, not just as a remedy, but as a nightly ritual. Castor oil. Thick, golden, and almost forgotten by modern medicine. But what if this humble oil, applied to your body right before you sleep, could trigger something powerful happening deep inside you overnight? Here's what makes this different from anything you've tried before. The human body doesn't just rest during sleep. It repairs. Your lymphatic system flushes out waste. Your liver works overtime to eliminate toxins. Your cells rebuild and regenerate. And when you apply castor oil at the right moment, right before bed, you are syncing a centuries-old remedy with your body's own natural healing cycle. The results? Shocking, and largely ignored by mainstream medicine. So why aren't doctors talking about this? Why isn't castor oil the first thing recommended in every clinic? That is exactly the question we are going to answer tonight. Because what the science reveals about this oil goes far deeper than most people realize. And most people are still making one critical mistake that cancels out every benefit. In this video, you will discover the shocking impact of castor oil when applied before sleep. And before you rush into it, I'll also show you what type of castor oil you should use to get better results. Stay with me so that you won't miss anything. Before we get started, welcome if this is your first time here. How old are you right now? Drop your age in the comments. We are reading and replying to each single one. Hit like, subscribe, and drop your country in the comments so we know where our family is growing from. Let's begin. First, the bloat destroyer. Here's something most people don't know. When you soak a cloth in castor oil and place it over your abdomen before bed, something very specific starts happening beneath your skin. The active compound in castor oil, ricinoleic acid, penetrates the abdominal wall and reaches the smooth muscle lining of your intestines. Once there, it directly activates receptors called EP3 prostanoid receptors, which trigger gentle, rhythmic contractions along your gut wall. These contractions push stagnant matter through your digestive tract, clearing the fermentation that causes that uncomfortable, puffy belly you wake up with every morning. This is not a theory. A landmark 2012 study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences by Tuneru and colleagues confirmed that ricinoleic acid is a selective agonist of EP3 receptors on intestinal smooth muscle cells, and that without these receptors, the effect completely disappears. The researchers concluded this discovery provides the long-sought mechanism of action of one of the oldest drugs. What makes nighttime application so powerful is timing. While you sleep, your body enters its natural digestive reset phase. Castor oil works with that cycle, not against it. By morning, you aren't just losing water weight. You are mechanically clearing trapped gas, undigested food, and toxic buildup that has been silently inflaming your gut wall for hours. The result? Noticeably flatter stomach, and a digestive system that finally begins to breathe again. Next, the lymphatic flush. Your lymphatic system is your body's internal sewage network, a vast web of vessels and nodes responsible for collecting waste, toxins, and dead cells from your tissues and carrying them out of your body. Unlike your heart, the lymphatic system has no pump. It relies entirely on movement, breathing, and external stimulation to keep flowing. And when it stagnates, which happens easily as we age, toxins begin to accumulate silently in your tissues, weakening your immune system and accelerating inflammation throughout your entire body. This is where castor oil becomes remarkable. When you apply a castor oil pack over your abdomen or liver area before sleep, ricinoleic acid penetrates the skin and stimulates circulation in the underlying lymphatic vessels, essentially acting as a manual pump for your body's sewer system. The results are not just anecdotal. A pivotal double-blind study published in the Journal of Naturopathic Medicine found that subjects who applied castor oil packs had significant increases in total lymphocyte count and T11 cell production compared to those using placebo packs, with peak immune response recorded within 24 hours of treatment. Lymphocytes are your immune system's frontline soldiers, identifying and destroying pathogens, toxins, and abnormal cells. By doing this overnight, you are giving your lymphatic system its most powerful working window. While you sleep, your body is already in deep detox mode. Castor oil simply amplifies that process, helping your tissues release what they have been holding onto, so your body can eliminate it by morning. Next, insomnia relief and deeper sleep. Most people reach for lavender or melatonin supplements when they can't sleep. But the real enemy of good sleep isn't a deficiency of lavender. It's a nervous system that never fully powers down. Chronic low-grade inflammation keeps your cortisol levels elevated late into the night. And elevated cortisol is the single biggest biochemical blocker of melatonin production. No melatonin means no deep sleep. It's that simple. And that frustrating. This is where castor oil works through a mechanism that most sleep remedies completely ignore. When applied to the abdomen, eyelids, or navel before bed, ricinoleic acid absorbs through the skin and begins suppressing inflammatory prostaglandins, the exact compounds responsible for keeping your stress hormones high. As inflammation drops, cortisol follows. As cortisol falls, your brain is finally free to produce melatonin naturally. Simultaneously, the absorption of the oil encourages a shift toward parasympathetic nervous system dominance, your body's rest and digest mode, calming the vagus nerve and signaling to your entire physiology that it is safe to let go. A 2024 study published in Frontiers in Behavioral Neuroscience by Nisbet and colleagues provided preliminary evidence that both castor oil and ricinoleic acid produce significant anxiolytic-like effects, reducing anxiety behavior comparably to chlordiazepoxide, a prescription anti-anxiety drug, at doses 40 times lower than its standard therapeutic dose. The navel method, often dismissed as folklore, may work precisely because the belly button sits over a dense network of nerve endings directly connected to the vagus nerve, making it one of the fastest absorption points on the body. Next, natural moisturizing and wrinkle reduction. Walk into any pharmacy and you will find dozens of anti-aging creams promising younger skin, most priced between $50 and $200 a bottle. What most of them do is sit on top of your skin, forming a superficial barrier that wears off by morning. Castor oil works entirely differently. Its primary compound, ricinoleic acid, which makes up approximately 90% of its composition, functions as a true humectant, meaning it actively draws moisture from the surrounding environment and locks it deep into your skin layers. Unlike conventional moisturizers, it penetrates below the surface, reaching the dermal matrix where collagen and elastin fibers actually live. Once inside, ricinoleic acid neutralizes the free radicals generated by oxidative stress, the main biological driver of premature aging, using the natural antioxidant power of vitamin E also present in the oil. It simultaneously fills microscopic gaps in the skin's lipid structure, restoring the protective barrier that breaks down as we age. The result is skin that is plumper, firmer, and more elastic, not from a chemical coating, but from genuine biological repair happening overnight while you sleep. The science backs this up. A 2024 clinical trial published in the Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology found that topical castor oil cream significantly reduced wrinkles, melanin levels, and skin laxity in the under-eye area after just 2 months of consistent use, with results confirmed by medical-grade skin analysis devices. Apply it to your face tonight, and your skin gets to work while you rest. Next, joint pain relief. If your knees ache when you climb stairs, or your lower back stiffens every morning when you get out of bed, you are not alone, and you are not helpless. Most pain medications work by masking the signal your body is sending. Castor oil works differently. It goes directly to the source. When you rub it onto a painful joint and wrap it before sleep, its active compound ricinoleic acid penetrates deep into the tissue and begins intercepting substance P, the neuropeptide your nervous system uses to transmit pain signals to your brain. Less substance P means less pain perception, less swelling, and less stiffness by morning. The comparison to capsaicin, the compound that gives hot peppers their heat, is not accidental. A landmark study published in Phytotherapy Research confirmed that ricinoleic acid shares remarkably similar anti-inflammatory mechanisms with capsaicin, but without the burning sensation, making it far more practical for daily use on sensitive or aging joints. Most powerfully, a 2009 randomized double-blind clinical trial, published in Phytotherapy Research, compared castor oil directly against diclofenac sodium, one of the most commonly prescribed anti-inflammatory drugs, in 100 patients with knee osteoarthritis over 4 weeks. The castor oil group showed a statistically significant reduction in joint pain and stiffness comparable to the drug group, but with 0 reported adverse effects, while the diclofenac group experienced multiple side effects. Applied nightly, castor oil doesn't just dull the pain, it increases circulation to the joint, delivering nutrients and oxygen that allow actual tissue healing to begin. Next, the gut reset. Let's talk about something most health videos avoid, but every doctor knows is critical: your bowel health. You simply cannot be well if your colon is backed up. Chronic constipation doesn't just cause discomfort, it means toxins that should have left your body hours ago are sitting inside your intestinal wall, being slowly reabsorbed into your bloodstream. It drives inflammation, brain fog, skin breakouts, and fatigue, all conditions that are far too common after the age of 60. Castor oil is the FDA-recognized gold standard natural laxative. And here is what makes it truly extraordinary. You don't even have to swallow it to benefit. When you apply a castor oil pack to your lower abdomen before sleep, ricinoleic acid penetrates the skin and reaches the smooth muscle layer lining your intestines, where it directly activates EP3 prostanoid receptors. These receptors respond by triggering rhythmic, coordinated contractions, the same peristaltic wave your body uses to move food through your gut, breaking up stagnant buildup and shortening colonic transit time. The 2012 landmark study, published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences by Tunaru and colleagues, confirmed that this mechanism is so specific that when EP3 receptors were removed in test subjects, the entire laxative effect of castor oil disappeared completely. Apply the pack to your lower abdomen tonight, wrap it gently, and let your body do the rest while you sleep. By morning, your gut will be ready to release, and your mind will feel clearer for it. Next, hair resurrection. You have probably seen castor oil trending on social media for hair growth. But most videos skip the actual science. Here is what is really happening. Your scalp contains a protein-producing enzyme called prostaglandin D2 synthase, which generates a compound called PGD2. In a groundbreaking 2012 study published in Science Translational Medicine, researchers at the University of Pennsylvania discovered that PGD2 levels were significantly elevated in bald scalp areas compared to hair-bearing areas, and that the higher the PGD2, the shorter and weaker the hair grew. In short, PGD2 is one of the primary biological triggers of hair loss, and it had been hiding in plain sight for years. Here is the remarkable connection. Ricinoleic acid, the dominant compound in castor oil, is structurally similar to the prostaglandin family of molecules, giving it a natural ability to inhibit prostaglandin D2 synthase, essentially blocking the enzyme that produces the hair-killing compound before it can cause damage. Applied to the scalp, eyebrows, or eyelashes before sleep, it simultaneously increases microcirculation to the follicular bulb, delivering oxygen and nutrients to roots that have been slowly starving. Ricinoleic acid penetrates to a follicular depth of 3 to 4 millimeters within 30 to 60 minutes of application, deep enough to reach the bulb region where actual hair generation occurs. The result is not just slower hair loss, it is the gradual awakening of dormant follicles. Applied consistently every night, castor oil works like fertilizer for your scalp, feeding the root, clearing the blockage, and giving your hair the biological conditions it needs to grow back. Next, scar and stretch mark softening. This one is for every mother, every surgery survivor, and anyone who has watched their body change faster than their skin could keep up. Stretch marks, medically known as striae distensae, are essentially internal tears in the dermis, the deeper layer of your skin, where collagen and elastin fibers were pulled apart faster than they could repair themselves. The result is that chaotic, fibrous scar tissue that appears as streaks on the abdomen, hips, thighs, and breasts. Once formed, they don't simply disappear, but they absolutely can be significantly reduced with the right approach applied consistently. Castor oil's ricinoleic acid works on scar tissue through 3 simultaneous mechanisms. First, it acts as a deep humectant, drawing moisture into the damaged dermal layers and preventing the scar tissue from drying out and tightening further. Second, its antioxidant compounds, including natural vitamin E, shield the collagen fibers still present from further free radical damage, protecting the skin's structural integrity as it slowly heals. Third, when massaged into the skin, it increases microcirculation to the scarred area, stimulating oxygen and nutrient delivery that activates fibroblasts, the specialized cells responsible for laying down new, organized collagen. A 2021 clinical study published in Experimental Dermatology confirmed that topical oil formulations applied to stretch marks triggered measurable collagen remodeling and neocollagenesis, the generation of new collagen fibers, with confocal microscopy revealing that dermal collagenous fibers shifted from a disorganized pattern to a more structured, reticular arrangement after consistent application. Newer scars and stretch marks, those within the first 2 years, respond best as the tissue is still actively evolving. Applied overnight with a gentle massage, castor oil gives your skin the biological raw materials it needs to quietly rewrite the damage while you sleep. Next, immune system support. Think of your thymus gland as the military training academy of your immune system. Located in your upper chest, behind your sternum, it is where immature immune cells graduate into fully armed T lymphocytes, the specialized soldiers responsible for identifying and destroying viruses, bacteria, fungi, and even cancerous cells. The problem is this: after the age of 40, the thymus begins to shrink and gradually loses its training capacity. Your immune army gets smaller, slower, and less responsive, which is why older adults get sicker more easily and recover more slowly. Applying castor oil directly to the chest, over the thymus, and surrounding lymph nodes before sleep activates a powerful skin-based immune response. The leading biochemical theory, confirmed through clinical research, is that ricinoleic acid triggers T lymphocytes embedded in the skin's epidermis and dermis, prompting them to activate both a localized and systemic immune reaction throughout the entire lymphatic network. Castor oil's chemical similarity to immune-stimulating prostaglandins further amplifies this effect by increasing the body's own prostaglandin production. The evidence is not just theoretical. A landmark double-blind study published in the Journal of Naturopathic Medicine by Harvey Grady examined 36 healthy volunteers before and after castor oil pack application. The results were unambiguous. Total lymphocyte counts rose significantly at a confidence level of peak EU equals 0.004, and T11 cell counts peaked 7 hours post-treatment at P equals 0.008. with zero comparable effect in the placebo group. Applied to your chest tonight, castor oil essentially puts armor on your immune system while you sleep, silently mobilizing your body's defenses before a threat even arrives. Lastly, the dry eye solution. If you wake up every morning with eyes that feel gritty, scratchy, or like there is sand trapped under your eyelids, you are not simply dehydrated. Dry eye disease is almost never caused by a lack of water. It is caused by a breakdown of the lipid layer of your tear film. Your tears have 3 layers: watery middle layer, a mucin base layer, and a thin outer oil layer produced by tiny glands in your eyelids called the meibomian glands. When those glands get clogged or inflamed, which happens increasingly with age, the oil layer disappears, tears evaporate within seconds, and your eyes are left raw and unprotected. Castor oil addresses this exact problem at its biological root. Applied gently to closed eyelids before sleep, its lipid-rich ricinoleic acid integrates directly into the tear film's outer oil layer, replenishing the lipids your meibomian glands are failing to produce. In a paired-eye clinical study conducted at the Ocular Surface Laboratory in New Zealand, a single periocular application of castor oil significantly increased tear film lipid layer thickness. And that increase was sustained for up to 4 full hours, with no effect observed in the saline control eye. A randomized clinical trial published in Clinical and Experimental Optometry in 2020 went further, demonstrating that consistent topical eyelid application over 4 weeks produced significant improvements in eyelid margin health, eyelash crusting, and ocular surface staining, all limited exclusively to treated eyes at P less than 0.01, with 0 adverse events reported throughout the entire trial period. Applied overnight, castor oil doesn't just relieve the symptom. It slowly rehabilitates the glands responsible for keeping your eyes naturally lubricated, so you wake up with eyes that are clear, comfortable, and finally at rest. Critical warning: not all castor oil is equal. Before you rush to the store, stop. Because this is where most people unknowingly hurt themselves. The hexane problem. Castor seeds are extremely hard to press, so many manufacturers use hexane, a chemical solvent derived from crude oil refining and a recognized neurotoxin, to extract the oil cheaply and efficiently. It works, but it leaves residues behind in the final product. Apply hexane processed oil to your skin every night, and you are transdermally absorbing a neurotoxin directly into the bloodstream you are trying to clean. The plastic problem. Ricinoleic acid is a powerful plasticizer. It penetrates materials so effectively that, when stored in plastic bottles, it actively leaches BPA and phthalates into the oil itself. Rub that onto your thyroid, abdomen, or reproductive areas nightly, and you are dosing yourself with endocrine-disrupting chemicals that mimic estrogen in your body. The rule is non-negotiable: hexane-free, cold-pressed, stored in a glass bottle. All three, every time. Cold pressing matters because heat destroys the delicate hydroxyl bonds that make ricinoleic acid biologically active. If your bottle doesn't clearly state all three, it belongs in the trash. To wrap things up, standard advice tells you your symptoms are simply part of getting older. Take a painkiller for the joints. Take a laxative for the gut. Take a sleeping pill for the insomnia. But all of that treats the smoke and ignores the fire. You now know the fire is stagnation. In your lymphatic system, your colon, your follicles, your joints, and your skin. You have a tool that costs pennies, has been used for 4,000 years, and is now validated by the molecular biochemistry of the EP3 receptor, the prostaglandin D2 pathway, and double-blind clinical trials. You don't need to add more chemistry to your body. You need to help your body subtract the waste it has been carrying. Tonight, apply the pack. Wear an old t-shirt. It stains like crazy. Go to sleep and let the night shift finally do its job.